Picture a kitchen table on a Sunday evening, 2 coffee cups going cold, a young couple sitting across from each other with a laptop open between them, and a number on the screen that makes both of them a little quiet. They have been renting for 6 years, and someone at a barbecue told them the thing that everyone eventually tells them: you are throwing your money away on rent. You are paying someone else's mortgage. You will never get that money back. And so they sit there on a Sunday evening, feeling like they have been doing something wrong for 6 years, feeling like every rent check was a small failure, wondering if they should stretch for a house they are not sure they can afford, just to stop the bleeding. I want to talk to that couple tonight, because that sentence, the one about throwing your money away, is one of the most expensive half-truths in personal finance. And once you see the whole truth, you can never unsee it. My name is Ed Callahan. I spent 35 years managing money for other people, running funds, sitting across the table from families exactly like that one, and I have watched more people talk themselves into a house at the wrong time than I can count. I am retired now. I have nothing to sell you. No mortgage to originate, no listing to close, no course, no newsletter, no affiliate link waiting at the bottom of the page. That means I can tell you the part of this story that the people who profit from your decision have every reason to leave out. And here is the part they leave out. Renting is not throwing money away. Owning is not automatically building wealth. Both of them cost you money that you never get back. The only question that matters is which pile of money you never get back is bigger. Tonight, I am going to hand you a single number that answers that question, and I am going to rebuild it in front of you using today's rates in the middle of 2026, so it is honest for the world you actually live in. Before I go any further, I want to give credit where it belongs. The frame I am about to walk you through was first laid out by a Canadian portfolio manager named Ben Felix in a video he called the 5% Rule. It is one of the clearest pieces of thinking on this subject anyone has ever put on the internet, and I will point you to it. But Ben published that work years ago, when the world looked very different, when mortgage rates were sitting up near 7% and climbing. Rates have come down since then. The numbers have moved. So think of tonight as a refresh, the same honest engine, rebuilt with the parts we actually have in front of us in 2026. Let us start with the easy side of the ledger, because renting really is simple. When you rent, the money you never get back is your rent. That is the whole calculation. If your rent is $2,000 a month, you multiply that by 12 months, and you have $24,000 a year that leaves your life and never comes home. That is it. No hidden second bill. You hand it to your landlord, you get a roof in exchange, and the transaction is closed. People say that money is wasted. It is not wasted. You bought 12 months of shelter with it. But yes, it is money you will not see again, and we are going to hold it up against the other side. Now, the other side, ownership, is where almost everyone gets fooled, because the mortgage payment is not the cost of owning a home. Let me say that again, because it is the whole game. Your mortgage payment is not your cost. There are 3 separate buckets of money that a homeowner pours out every single year and never gets back, and only one of them lives inside the mortgage. Let me take them one at a time. The first bucket is property taxes. The day you own a home, you owe the government a slice of its value every year, forever, for as long as you hold it. It never ends, and you never get it back. The national average effective rate right now sits at roughly 0.9%, though it swings wildly by state, so for a clean example tonight, I am going to use around 1%. Picture a $500,000 home. 1% of that is $5,000 a year, gone every year just for the privilege of holding the keys. The second bucket is maintenance. A house is a physical object slowly falling apart in slow motion, and you are the one who pays to hold it together. Roofs, water heaters, the furnace that dies in January, the tree that comes down on the fence. The rule of thumb is that you set aside 1 to 2% of the home's value every year for upkeep, and if the house is old, you lean toward the higher end. I am going to use 1% to be kind. On our $500,000 home, that is another $5,000 a year that leaves and never returns. So before we have touched the mortgage at all, we are already at 2% of the home's value every year, $10,000 that a renter never pays. Hold that in your mind. Now the third bucket, and this is the one that separates people who understand money from people who just feel it. Ben calls it the cost of capital, and it has two parts. The first part is the cost of your down payment. And this is the idea I have watched change more lives than any other single concept in my career. When you put money down on a house, that money is not free. It is doing a job for you, sitting in the walls, but it could have been doing a different job somewhere else. Say you put 20% down on our $500,000 home. That is $100,000. The moment you hand it over, that $100,000 can no longer be invested in anything else. And this is where we have to be honest about what money does in different places. Over the long run, a broad basket of American stocks has returned somewhere around 7.5% a year after you strip out inflation. Residential real estate, the actual median home, has appreciated only around 2% a year after inflation over the same long stretch. And I am using median home prices on purpose, not the flashy commercial deals, because a median home is what you are actually buying. So stocks have out-earned houses by roughly 5.5% a year, decade after decade, once you take inflation out of both. That gap is the cost of your down payment. Your $100,000 parked in the house is giving up about 5.5% a year that it could have earned in the market. 5.5% of $100,000 is $5,500 a year that you are choosing not to earn. That is a real cost. You do not see it on any bill. No one mails it to you, but it is as real as the check you write for the electric. The second part of the cost of capital is the interest on the loan, the cost of the debt itself. You borrowed the other $400,000, and the bank charges you rent on that money, and we call that rent interest. Here is where the refresh really matters, because rates have fallen. Today, in the middle of 2026, a 30-year fixed mortgage sits at roughly 6.4%. $400,000 at 6.4% is about $25,600 a year in interest. Now, an amortization schedule shifts that mix over 30 years, and I will come back to that honestly, but for a clean guide, the loan balance times the rate gives us a conservative buffer, and it keeps us from overestimating what we can afford. $25,600 a year, out the door, gone. So let us add up the cost of capital, $5,500 in opportunity cost on the down payment, plus $25,600 in interest, is about $31,000 a year. As a percentage of our $500,000 home, that is roughly 6.2%. Now I get to hand you the number. We take the property tax, 1%. We add the maintenance, 1%. We add the cost of capital, 6.2%. And we arrive at 8.2%. That is the refreshed rule for the world we live in right now. Ben's original came out closer to 8.7 because rates were higher when he ran it. Rates fell, and the honest number fell with them, and that is exactly why you rerun the math instead of trusting a number somebody calculated in a different decade. Here is how you use it, and it could not be simpler. Take the price of the home you are looking at, multiply it by 8.2%. That gives you the true annual cost of owning it, every dollar you will never see again. Then divide by 12 to put it on a monthly footing. Let us try it. A $400,000 home. 400,000 times 8.2% is $32,800 a year. Divide by 12, and you get about $2,730 a month. So here is your decision rule. If you can rent a comparable $400,000 home for less than $2,730 a month, renting is winning on pure math, and it is not close. If a comparable rental costs more than that, the scale tips toward buying. That is the whole tool. One number, one multiplication, one division, and the fog lifts. Now, I have been in this business too long to hand you a rule and pretend it is the end of the story. It is not. This rule is a starting line, not a finish line, and the honest man tells you where it bends. So let me give you the other side, the case for owning, because it is real. The first flaw is that the rule assumes you are a perfectly rational machine, and you are not. None of us are. The math says the renter invests the $100,000 they did not put down and earns that market return and comes out ahead. But be honest with yourself. Will you actually invest it? Or will it drift into a nicer car and a few vacations and a checking account that never quite grows? For a lot of people, and I mean most people, a mortgage is a forced savings plan wearing a disguise. Every payment chips a little equity out of the bank and hands it back to you, whether you have the discipline to save or not. That has real value, and no spreadsheet captures it. The second flaw is the amortization schedule I promised to come back to. In the real world, your interest is not flat. In the early years of a mortgage, most of your payment is interest and very little is principal. But as the decades roll on, that flips, and near the end, almost all of it is building your equity. By the time a 30-year loan is paid off, the interest cost has nearly vanished, and what you are left with is a paid-off asset that is entirely yours. That changes the arithmetic in the later years in the homeowner's favor, and our simple rule does not capture it. The third piece the rule cannot hold is appreciation and inflation is the homeowner's secret friend. When you lock a fixed mortgage, your payment never changes, but the dollars you pay it with get smaller every year. A $1,000 payment feels heavy today and feels like nothing in 20 years, while your neighbor's rent has climbed the whole time. Meanwhile, the home itself can appreciate, sometimes far beyond that median 2%. I have seen a modest house in a good location, bought for under $600,000, sell 2 decades later for well over $1 million, 3 or 4 times what the averages would have predicted. That is not the base case, and you should never buy on the hope of it, but it is real, and the renter never touches it. And then there is the tax story, which is more myth than money for most people now. Yes, you can deduct mortgage interest in the United States, but here is the catch nobody mentions at the barbecue. The standard deduction for 2026 is $16,100 for a single filer and $32,200 for a married couple. Your mortgage interest only helps you if it, plus your other deductions, climbs above that number. For a huge share of ordinary homeowners, it never does, which means the famous tax break they were promised does absolutely nothing for them. Run your own numbers before you count on it. There are pros to owning that never touch a calculator. Your payment is predictable, and no landlord can raise it on a whim or sell the building out from under you. You can paint the walls, tear out the kitchen, own a dog, put down roots. There is a deep peace in knowing where you will grow old. Those things are worth money, even when the math is close, and renting has its own quiet advantages, and I will be fair to it. Flexibility. First, the freedom to leave in a month if life calls. No taxes, no maintenance, no furnace at midnight. And in the right building, amenities you would never buy on your own. The honest answer is that this was never only about the math. So let me give you the takeaway, the thing I would tell that couple at the kitchen table if I could sit down with them. Stop letting a slogan make your largest financial decision for you. Run your own numbers. Take the price of the home you want, multiply by 8.2%, divide by 12, and compare it honestly to the rent on a home just like it. With rates where they are in the middle of 2026, in a lot of American cities, that math still favors renting in the short run, and there is no shame in that, none at all. But if you are going to plant yourself somewhere for more than 5 to 8 years, ownership starts to earn its keep. The forced savings and the shrinking real payment and the paid-off asset all begin to stack in your favor. The right answer is not renting, and it is not buying. The right answer is the one your own numbers give you, run with honest inputs for your own life. If this cleared even a little of the fog, do one thing for me. Subscribe to this channel, because I am going to keep taking the expensive myths apart one at a time and rebuilding them with real numbers, and I would like you here when I do. And before you go, settle something in the comments for me. Tell me the exact number. Are you renting or buying right now? And after tonight, do you think your own math actually agrees with you? I read them, and I am honestly curious which way this one splits. I will see you in the next one.